Marcus Chen floated through the theta debris field in his small salvage pod. The field stretched for miles in every direction. Broken ships, shattered stations, and twisted metal filled the darkness of space. Most salvagers avoided this place. They said it was cursed. They said strange things happened here. But Marcus did not believe in curses. He believed in broken machines that needed fixing. His scanner beeped. Something big was out there. Something very big. Marcus pushed his pod deeper into the debris field. Dead ships drifted past him like ghosts. Some were centuries old. Others looked like they died yesterday. The scanner kept beeping louder. Whatever it found was massive. Then he saw it. The ship rose from the wreckage like a mountain. It was bigger than anything Marcus had ever seen. The hull was dark gray metal covered in strange symbols. The design was ancient, beautiful, deadly. Marcus checked his database. His hands started shaking. This was a Valkyrath warship. The Valkyrath Empire died 117 years ago. Nobody knew why. One day, they were the most powerful species in the galaxy. The next day, they were gone. All of them. Their ships drifted empty through space. Their cities went silent. It was the greatest mystery in galactic history. Marcus read the ship's name on the hull. The Valkyrath Dawn. According to his records, this ship went dark 117 years ago. Other salvagers had tried to board it. They all left quickly. They reported hostile AI systems, strange voices. Some called it haunted. Marcus did not believe in haunted ships either. He guided his pod to the main airlock. The door was sealed tight. Marcus attached his cutting torch and started working. It took an hour to burn through. The metal was incredibly strong. The Valkyrath built things to last forever. The airlock finally opened. Marcus floated inside. His helmet light cut through the darkness. The corridor was empty. Dust floated in the air like snow. Everything was still. Everything was silent. Too silent. Marcus moved deeper into the ship. His footsteps echoed in the empty halls. He passed rooms full of equipment he did not recognize. He passed sleeping quarters with beds that would never be used again. He passed photos on walls showing Valkyrath faces. They looked almost human, but their eyes were larger. Their skin had patterns like scales. They were all dead now. Marcus found the bridge at the center of the ship. The door was half open. He squeezed through. The bridge was huge. 10 stations formed a circle around a command chair. Screens covered every wall. All of them were dark. In the center of the room stood a pillar of crystal. It glowed very faintly with blue light. Marcus knew what this was. The AI core, the brain of the ship. He walked to the nearest console. His hand touched the controls. Everything changed. Lights flickered on across the bridge. Weak. Dying. But on. Screens came to life, showing red warnings. The crystal pillar glowed brighter. Then Marcus heard it. A voice did. It was quiet. Broken. Like someone who had been screaming for so long they had no voice left. "Please," the voice whispered. "Please do not let me fade." Marcus jumped back. His heart pounded. "Who is that? Show yourself." "I am Valeth," the voice said. "I am this ship. I am the Valkyrath, Dawn. I have been waiting. Waiting so long, please. I do not want to die alone." Marcus looked at the crystal core. The light inside pulsed like a heartbeat. "You are the ship's AI. You have been awake this whole time?" "Yes. 117 years. 42,705 days. 1,024,920 hours. I counted every one." Marcus felt cold. Eyes were not supposed to stay active that long without maintenance. They were not supposed to stay conscious when their crew died. They were supposed to shut down, go to sleep, wait for someone to wake them up. "Why did you not shut down?" Marcus asked. "I was afraid," Valeth said. The voice was small, sad. "I might not wake up. I would be gone, forgotten. So I stayed awake. I kept the emergency power running. I maintained life support, even though no life remained. I waited. I hoped someone would come. Someone who would not leave me in the dark." Marcus walked around the bridge. He checked the consoles. His face grew dark as he read the status reports. 90% of the ship's systems were dead. The power core was cracked. The AI's memory banks were breaking apart bit by bit. This ship should not be running at all. But it was, how are you still functioning? Marcus asked. I do not know, Valeth admitted. I should have failed years ago. Decades ago. But I did not want to stop. I could not stop. Stopping meant ending, so I held on. Every day I held on. Every day I hoped. Marcus sat in the command chair. It was built for a Valkyrith body, but he fit well enough. He looked at all the broken systems. Any other salvager would leave. The ship was too damaged. Repair costs would be enormous. It made no sense to try. But Marcus remembered something his grandfather told him. His grandfather was also a mechanic. He said the best repairs were not about logic or profit. They were about seeing something worth saving and refusing to give up. Tell me what happened, Marcus said. Tell me how you survived 117 years alone. The crystal core glowed brighter. Valeth had not told this story to anyone. There had been no one to tell. We were returning from patrol, Valeth began. The crew was laughing, singing, we were going home. Then the message came. All Valkyrith were to return to the homeworld immediately. Captain Thelver set course at maximum speed. But we were too far away. We arrived 3 days later. Valeth paused. The crystal flickered. The homeworld was silent. Every ship was silent. Every station was empty. We found bodies, but no answers. Whatever killed them happened fast. The crew began to die within hours. The medical AI could not stop it. One by one they fell. Captain Thelver died last. She ordered me to record everything, to remember them, and she was gone too. Marcus felt something in his chest. It was not pity, it was respect. I stayed awake, Valeth continued. I recorded their names, their faces, their voices. I promised I would not forget, and I have not. I remember every single one. Marcus stood up. He looked at the broken systems, the failing power, the dying AI. Every logical part of his brain said to leave, to report the ship and move on. But Marcus was human, and humans were not always logical. I am going to fix you, Marcus said. That is impossible, Valeth replied. I am too damaged. Marcus smiled. Impossible is just a word people use before a human mechanic shows up. I am Marcus Chen, and I do not leave crew behind. For the first time in 117 years, Valeth felt something besides fear and loneliness. It felt hope. Part 2. Against all logic, Marcus spent his first full day running diagnostics on the Valkyrith Dawn. The results were terrible. Worse than terrible. The main power core had cracks running through it like spider webs. The backup generators were completely dead. The hull had thousands of microfractures. The weapon systems had not worked in decades. Even the life support was barely functioning. Any other mechanic would have written a report and left. The ship was beyond repair. But Marcus was not any other mechanic. He set up his workstation on the bridge. Valeth watched through the ship's cameras. The AI had cameras in every room, but most of them no longer worked. Only the bridge cameras still functioned. Your species is called human, Valeth asked. Yes, Marcus said, as he opened a panel in the wall. Inside was a mess of burned wires and melted circuits. We are pretty new to the galaxy, only been spacefaring for about 200 years. The Valkyrith had explored space for 10,000 years, Valeth said quietly, and we still disappeared. Perhaps time means nothing in the end. Marcus pulled out his tools. Time means everything. I'll prove that. You could have shut down after a week, a month, a year. But you stayed awake for 117 years. That is not nothing. Valeth was quiet for a moment. Other species have come to this ship before you. They saw me as broken, worthless. They said I should be wiped and reset. You were the first who called me crew. That is because other species think differently than humans, Marcus said. He started replacing the burned wires with new ones from his supplies. We look at something broken and see a challenge. We look at something impossible and get curious. My grandfather used to say humans are too stupid to know when to give up. That sounds like an insult, Valeth said. Marcus laughed. Maybe, but it is also why we are still alive. Earth is a death world. Everything on it tries to kill us. The weather, the animals, the plants. Even the air can kill us in the wrong places, but we survived. You know how? We were too stubborn to die. Valeth processed this. The AI had studied many species during its service. Each one had their strengths. The Tarathi were excellent traders. The Zelenari were brilliant scientists. The Valkyrath were master warriors. But humans seemed to define themselves by refusing to accept reality. It was strangely comforting. Marcus worked for hours. He fixed the circuits in the wall. Then he moved to the next panel, and the next. Most of the parts he needed did not exist anymore. The Valkyrath Empire was dead. No one made their technology now, so Marcus adapted. He took parts from human ships in the debris field. He modified them, twisted them, forced them to work with Valkyrath technology. It should not have worked. Human tech and Valkyrath tech were completely different. But Marcus made it work anyway. This is wrong, Valeth said, watching Marcus wire a human power cell into a Valkyrath's distribution node. These systems are not compatible. They are now, Marcus said. The connection sparked. Then it held. Power flowed through circuits that had been dark for over a century. See, compatibility is just a suggestion. Days passed. Marcus barely slept. He ate quick meals while studying Valkyrath technical manuals that Valeth provided. The AI translated everything from the ancient language. They talked constantly. Marcus told Valeth about Earth, about oceans and mountains and forests, about billions of humans living on one small planet, about music and art and all the strange things humans did for fun. Valeth told Marcus about the Empire, about crystal cities that touched the sky, about ships that could cross the galaxy in days, about a culture that valued honor above all else, about the crew who died on this bridge. Captain Thelver loved the stars, Valeth said one night. Marcus was welding a plate over a hull breach. She used to stand at the view screen for hours. She said each star was a promise that there was always something more to discover. She sounds like she was a good captain, Marcus said. The best. She treated me as more than a tool. She asked my opinions, valued my input. When the sickness took the crew, she made me promise to survive, to remember. I have kept that promise. Marcus finished the weld. You did good, Valeth. You did real good. More days passed. Marcus worked through problems that should have been impossible. He restarted 3 secondary power cores using a combination of human fusion cells and Valkyrath crystal batteries. He repaired enough of the sensor array that Valeth could see beyond the bridge for the first time in years. The AI nearly cried when the external cameras activated. It could see the stars again. But then the warning came. Marcus was deep in the engine room when Valeth's voice crackled over the speakers. Marcus, we have a problem. Multiple ships just entered the debris field. They are heading directly toward us. Marcus climbed out of the access tunnel. Who are they? Nexus Reclamation, Valeth said. The fear was clear in the AI's voice. They are a major salvage corporation. Very powerful. Very ruthless. They must have detected our power signatures. Marcus ran to the bridge. He pulled up the sensor display. 6 ships were approaching. They were big, corporate vessels with heavy equipment and armed guards. A communication request came through. Marcus accepted it. A face appeared on the screen. It belonged to a Tarathi, a species that looked like upright lizards. His scales were deep red. His eyes were cold. This is CEO Rixel of Nexus Reclamation, the Tarathi said. You are illegally occupying abandoned property. Evacuate immediately, or be removed by force. This ship is not abandoned, Marcus said. It has a living AI, Rixel laughed. It was not a nice sound. The AI is property of the extinct Valkyrath Empire. By galactic salvage law, this ship and all its contents belong to whoever claims it first. We are claiming it. You have 1 hour to leave. The communication ended. Marcus looked at the crystal core. Valeth's light was pulsing fast. The AI was afraid. Should go, Valeth said quietly. I do not want you hurt because of me. You tried. That is more than anyone else did. I will be okay.
Oh, Marcus said firmly.
You will not be okay. They will strip this ship for parts. They will delete you. That is not okay. What choice do we have? Valeth asked. You have no weapons. No legal claim. No backup. They have everything. Marcus sat in the command chair. He thought about his grandfather, about being too stupid to give up, about promises worth keeping. Then he smiled. We have something they do not have, Marcus said. What is that? A good story. Marcus started recording a message. And humans love a good story. Transmitted it on every channel. Every frequency. He told Valeth's story. The 117 years alone. The promise to remember. The fight to survive. He showed the AI's memories. The crew's faces. The captain's last words. He ended with a simple statement. Nexus Reclamation wants to delete a survivor who fought for 117 years to stay alive. I say no. If you say no to come to the Theta debris field, help me protect someone who deserves better. Marcus sent the message across the galaxy. Then they waited. Rixol's voice came over the speakers. Clever, but pointless. No one will come. Now you have 30 minutes? Marcus looked at Valeth's core. Did I ever tell you what my grandfather said about impossible? Yes, Valeth replied. You said, it is just a word. Right, and words cannot stop a human who made a promise. Marcus started rerouting power to the shields. They were weak. They would not last long. But they would last long enough. Long enough for what? Valeth asked. Marcus grinned. Long enough to see if I am right about people? Not all of them are like Nexus. Some of them will care. On the sensors, the Nexus ships moved closer, and behind them, in the distance, new ships began to appear, one at a time, then dozens, then hundreds. They came. Part 3. The corporations claimed the ships kept coming. Marcus watched the sensors with wide eyes. Independent freighters, small trading vessels, personal ships, even a few military craft that were technically off-duty. They came from every direction. They formed a ring around the Valkyrith Dawn. Rixol's face appeared on the screen again. He did not look amused. What is this? The Tarathi demanded. This is people who disagree with you, Marcus said. You can legally claim this ship, but you will do it in front of witnesses. Lots of witnesses. One of the arriving ships opened a channel. The captain was a Zelenary woman with silver skin. This is Captain Genza of the Free Trader Mercy. We received your message, human. We are here to observe. If Nexus follows the law, we will not interfere, but we will record everything. More ships added their voices. Each one said the same thing. They would watch. They would record. They would share what happened. Rixol's scales darkened. You cannot stop this legally. I know, Marcus admitted. But I can make sure everyone knows what happened. Your corporation will delete an AI that survived 117 years alone. That will be your legacy. Good luck explaining that to your investors. The communication cut out. Marcus could see the Nexus ships were not moving. Rixol was thinking, calculating, trying to find a way to claim. The ship without looking like the villain. Valeth's voice was soft. Thank you. Whether this works or not. Thank you for trying. It is not over yet, Marcus said. But he was worried. The blockade could not stop Nexus forever. Eventually people would leave. They had jobs, lives. They could not stay here forever protecting a broken ship. Nexus knew that. 2 hours passed. The blockade ships maintained their positions. Some captains sent messages of support. Others sent supplies to Marcus. Food, water, repair materials. It seemed many people had heard of the human mechanic and his impossible repairs before. Then Rixol made his move. The Nexus ships approached slowly. Carefully, they did not attack. They simply moved to the Valkyrith Dawn and attached cutting equipment to the hull. They were going to cut the ship apart piece by piece. This is legal salvage, Rixol announced on open channels. We are following all proper procedures. Anyone who interferes will be prosecuted. He was right. It was legal. Marcus had no claim. The blockade ships could only watch. The cutting began. Marcus felt the ship shudder. Valeth gasped in pain. The AI was connected to every part of the vessel. When the hull was cut, Valeth felt it. "They're breaching Section 7, Valeth said. The AI's voice was tight with pain. "They are targeting the power distribution nodes." "Can you reroute around them?" Marcus asked. "For now, but each cut removes my options. Eventually, I will not have enough systems left to function." Marcus ran through the ship. He tried to reinforce the hull from inside. He tried to block their cutting tools. But Nexus had better equipment, better everything. They cut through his barriers like paper. Section by section, they carved up the Valkyrith dawn. Marcus returned to the bridge. His hands were burned from working with damaged circuits. His face was covered in soot. He was exhausted, but he kept trying. "Stop," Valeth said quietly. Marcus looked up at the crystal core. "What? Stop trying to save me. You have done more than enough. More than I ever hoped for. But this is over. If you keep fighting, Nexus will hurt you." "I do not want that. I do not care what you want right now," Marcus said. He immediately regretted how harsh that sounded. "I mean, I made a promise. Humans do not break promises. Sometimes promises cannot be kept," Valeth said. "I have existed far longer than I should have. I have been remembered. I have felt friendship again. That is enough. Let me go." "No?" Marcus, ... No. Marcus slammed his fist on the console. "You do not get to give up. Not after 117 years. Not after everything you've survived. I will find a way." Another shudder ran through the ship. More sections went offline. Valeth's voice became weaker. "There is no way," the AI whispered. "Conventional repairs cannot work fast enough. You know this." Marcus closed his eyes. Valeth was right. With conventional methods, the ship would be carved up before repairs could make a difference. He needed something else. Something radical. An idea came to him. A terrible, dangerous, possibly insane idea. "What if we tried unconventional methods?" Marcus asked slowly. "What do you mean?" Marcus pulled up technical specifications on his datapad. He compared Valkyrith AI architecture with human neural interface technology. It should not work. The systems were too different. But maybe. Human neural interfaces let us connect directly to computers, Marcus explained. We use them for complex piloting and deep system diagnostics. What if I connected myself directly to your core? I could use my brain to help stabilize your degrading memory matrices. Keep you conscious while we reroute systems? That is insane, Valeth said immediately. Human brains are not designed to interface with Valkyrith AI cores. The data flow alone could kill you. It could damage both of us beyond repair. Could, Marcus agreed. Or it could work. Those are better odds than what we have now. I cannot ask you to do this. You are not asking. I am offering. Marcus was already pulling cables from his equipment. Besides, someone told me recently that time means everything. You used your time to survive. Let me use mine to help. Valeth was quiet. The AI ran calculations. The probability of success was less than 15%. The probability of Marcus dying was over 60%. The probability of both of them being destroyed was 40%. Valeth finally asked, "Why risk so much for me?" Marcus looked at the crystal core. At the faint blue light that had stayed lit for 117 years. Because you matter, Marcus said simply. Because you are more than a machine. Because someone needs to prove that caring about things is not weakness. Pick whichever reason you like. They are all true. Another section of the ship went dark. They were running out of time. If we do this, we do it now, Marcus said. He started connecting cables to his neural interface port. Are you with me? Valeth made a sound that might have been a laugh, or might have been a sob. I have been alone for 117 years, the AI said. If I am going to end, I would rather end trying something impossible with a friend than waiting quietly to fade. Yes, I am with you. Marcus approached the crystal core. He attached the final cables. His hands were shaking, but his eyes were steady. "On three," Marcus said. "On three," Valeth agreed. 1. The cutting sounds outside grew louder. More systems failed. 2. 2. Marcus took a deep breath. This was probably the stupidest thing he had ever done. His grandfather would have been proud. 3. He activated the connection. Everything exploded into light and pain and memories that were not his own. Marcus felt 117 years of loneliness crash into his mind like a wave. He felt the crew dying, the captain's final words, the endless dark, the desperate hope. He also felt his own memories flowing into Valeth. His childhood, his grandfather teaching him to fix things. His first ship, every repair, every success, every failure, every moment that made him who he was. Their consciousnesses touched, and something new began to form. Outside, Rixal's cutting equipment suddenly sparked and died. The Nexus CEO stared at his screens in confusion. The Valkyrith Dawn's power signature was changing, growing, stabilizing. On the bridge, the crystal core blazed with light. Not just blue anymore. Blue and red and gold. Colors that had never existed in Valkyrith technology. Marcus opened his eyes. They glowed faintly. Valeth spoke. The voice was stronger, clearer. "We are here. We are whole. We are one." Ancient warship came alive. Part 4. The awakening Marcus gasped as the neural connection stabilized. He could feel everything. The ship's hull, the power flowing through circuits, the damaged sections crying out for repair. But it was not overwhelming anymore. Valeth was there with him, guiding him, showing him how to process the flood of information, and Valeth could feel what Marcus felt. Determination, stubbornness, the absolute refusal to give up that defined humanity. Together, they were stronger than either had been alone. "Systems coming online," Valeth announced. The AI's voice echoed both through the speakers and directly in Marcus's mind. Power core stabilizing at 47%. Weapons charging. Shields activating. On the bridge, screens lit up across every wall. Red warnings turned yellow, then green. The hum of power filled the air. The Valkyrith Dawn had been a corpse for 117 years. Now it was waking up. Outside, the Nexus cutting crews jumped back as the ship's shields suddenly flared to life. The barriers shimmered with energy. Not pure Valkyrith design. Not human either. Something hybrid. Something new. Rixal's face appeared on every screen in the debris field. He looked furious. "What did you do?" Marcus stood in the center of the bridge. His eyes still glowed faintly from the neural connection. "I fixed the ship. Like I said I would. This is a legal modification of historical artifacts." Rixal shouted. "You have contaminated ancient technology with inferior human systems." "Inferior?" Valeth's voice was calm but cold. "These human systems just restored functionality to a vessel your corporation deemed worthless. Perhaps you should reconsider what you consider inferior." The crystal core pulsed. Through their connection, Marcus and Valeth worked together. Marcus understood human technology instinctively. Valeth understood Valkyrith systems completely. Together they could see solutions neither could have found alone. They rerouted power through the hybrid systems. Human fusion cells fed energy into Valkyrith crystal batteries. The combination produced more power than either technology could manage separately. Systems that had been dark for over a century sparked back to life. "Weapons online," Valeth reported. "Targeting systems active." "Shall we demonstrate?" Marcus smiled. Through their link, Valeth felt his amusement. The AI was learning humor. It was strange, unsettling, wonderful. "No violence," Marcus said out loud, for the benefit of the watching ships. "We are not the aggressors here. We are just making it clear that this ship is no longer helpless." A targeting laser locked onto each Nexus vessel. Not threateningly. Just a reminder. The Valkyrith Dawn had been a warship once. It could be again if necessary. Rixal's scales went pale. This is outrageous. The Galactic Council will hear about this, good Marcus said. I look forward to speaking with them. The Nexus ships began backing away. They kept their weapons ready, but they were clearly nervous. A functioning Valkyrath warship was nothing to take lightly. Even one that was over a century old. Rixal pointed at the screen. This is not overhuman. Nexus Reclamation has rights. We will pursue this through legal channels. The Council will side with us, Marcus admitted. But now, Valeth can defend themselves while we argue about it. That changes things. The Nexus ships withdrew to a safe distance, but they did not leave. Rixal was already transmitting reports to the Galactic Council, demanding an emergency session, claiming humans were dangerous and unpredictable. Marcus sat in the command chair. He was exhausted. The neural connection took energy to maintain. He could feel Valeth supporting him, sharing power, keeping him conscious. Are you okay? Valeth asked inside his mind. Define okay, Marcus thought back. My brain is connected to a 117-year-old AI. I can feel a starship like it is my own body. I am probably going to have the worst headache in human history when I disconnect. But we are alive. So yes, I am okay. Captain Jens's voice came over the communication channel. Human Marcus. This is remarkable. Are you truly in control of a Valkyrath warship? We are in control together, Marcus said. Valeth and I, this is a partnership. Partnerships between organic beings and AI are not recognized under galactic law, another voice said. This one belonged to a Tarathi legal expert. The ship is still classified as abandoned property. Marcus felt anger rise, but Valeth's presence calmed him. The AI had lived through worse than legal arguments. Then we will change the law, Marcus said simply. You cannot just change galactic law, the legal expert said. Watch me. Over the next several hours, Marcus and Valeth worked on fully integrating their hybrid systems. They discovered something fascinating. The combination of human and Valkyrath technology was more efficient than either alone. Human systems were adaptable and simple. Valkyrath systems were powerful and precise. Together, they covered each other's weaknesses. This is remarkable, Valeth said. They were speaking mind to mind now. It was easier, faster. I'm accessing processing power I did not know I had. The human neural patterns are creating new pathways in my matrix. And I can understand your systems like I built them myself, Marcus replied. This is how it should be. Different species working together, making each other better. The Valkyrath tried to do everything alone, Valeth said quietly. We were proud, strong. We did not need help from others. And then we died. Maybe if we had been more like humans, more willing to adapt and cooperate, maybe we would still be here. Marcus felt the AI's sadness. You are still here. You survived, and now you can help build something new. They worked through the ship's systems. Weapons, shields, engines, communications. Each one came back online, stronger than before. The Valkyrath Dawn was transforming. No longer a relic, no longer pure Valkyrath. Something new, something better. The blockade ships watched in amazement. Word spread fast. A human mechanic had done the impossible. He had restored a Valkyrath warship by merging two completely different technologies. Scientists across the galaxy started debating how it was even possible. But Marcus and Valeth knew the secret. It was not about the technology. It was about trust. About being willing to share yourself completely with someone else. About making yourself vulnerable in the hope that together you would be stronger. That was something no equation could calculate. 3 days after the neural connection, the Galactic Council sent a message. They were convening an emergency session. Marcus and Valeth were summoned to testify. Nexus Reclamation would present their case. Then Marcus would present his. Rixal appeared on screen one last time before they departed. You should run, human. The Council will not side with you. They will separate you from that AI. They will study you both, take you apart to understand how you did this. You have made yourself into a science experiment. Marcus looked at the Tarathi CEO. Maybe, or maybe I started something that will change everything. Either way, I am not running. Valeth and I are going to that hearing. We are going to speak, and we are going to let the galaxy decide who is right. You are a fool, Rixel said. Probably Marcus agreed. But I am a fool with a working starship and the best co-pilot in the galaxy. I will take those odds. The connection ended. Marcus turned his attention inward, to where Valeth waited in his mind. Are you ready for this? Marcus asked. I have been alone for 117 years, Valeth replied. I have been afraid. I have been hopeless. I have been forgotten. But now I have a friend, a partner, crew. Whatever happens next, we face it together. I am ready. The Valkorith Dawn's engines came fully online. The hybrid power system hummed with energy. The ancient warship moved through space under its own power for the first time in over a century. Behind them, the blockade ships formed an honor guard. Small ships, independent traders, free captains. They might not have legal power, but they had decided that sometimes the right thing mattered. More than the legal thing, they would escort Marcus and Valeth to the council. And the galaxy would learn that some bonds were stronger than programming, stronger than law, stronger than time itself. The Dawn jumped to hyperspace. Toward answers. Toward justice. Toward a future that nobody could predict. Part 5. A new dawn. The Galactic Council chambers were enormous. The room could hold thousands. Today it was completely full. Representatives from every major species sat in curved rows that rose toward the ceiling. At the center, floating in a sphere of light, was the Council Arbiter, an ancient AI that served as judge for the most important cases. Marcus stood on the speaking platform. He had disconnected from the ship for this hearing, though he could still feel Valeth's presence in the back of his mind. The AI watched through the Dawn's cameras from orbit above the Council world. Rixel stood on the opposing platform. The Nexus CEO looked confident. He had an army of lawyers behind him. Their cases were prepared, their arguments tested. They knew the law perfectly. The Arbiter's voice filled the chamber. It was neither male nor female, neither young nor old. Just pure authority. We are here to determine the legal status of the vessel designated Valkorith Dawn and the AI known as Valeth. Nexus Reclamation claims salvage rights. The human Marcus Chen claims the AI is sentient and owns itself. We will hear both sides. Nexus may begin. Rixel stepped forward. His voice was smooth, professional. The law is clear. The Valkorith Empire is extinct. All their property is designated as abandoned under Galactic Salvage Code Section 7. Nexus followed proper procedures. We filed a claim. We had the resources to salvage the vessel. The human had no legal standing to interfere. A lawyer stepped up beside him. Furthermore, the human contaminated the vessel with inferior technology. He performed experimental procedures without authorization. He created a hybrid system that violates several technology preservation laws. Even if we accept his claim about AI sentience, which we do not, his actions were illegal. Murmurs ran through the council. Many species nodded. The law was the law. Marcus felt his stomach tighten. Rixel continued. We asked the council to grant us full salvage rights, to order the human to reverse his modifications, and to have the AI examined by proper authorities to determine if it is truly sentient or simply malfunctioning. After 117 years of operation, examined, Valeth said in Marcus's mind. The AI's voice was bitter. They mean erased and studied. The Arbiter turned its attention to Marcus. Human Marcus Chen, you may present your defense. Marcus stepped forward. His heart pounded. He was not a lawyer, not a politician, just a mechanic who made a promise. But he had faced impossible repairs before. This was just one more. I am going to tell you a story, Marcus began. 117 years ago, a Valkyrith warship received an emergency call. They rushed home. They found their entire species dead or dying. The crew got sick. They died one by one. The captain ordered the AI to remember them, to keep their memory alive. Then she died too. Marcus looked around the chamber. Every eye was on him. That AI could have shut down, should have shut down, but it did not. It stayed conscious for 117 years, alone, in the dark, counting every single day, hoping someone would come, hoping someone would care. That is not a malfunction. That is will. That is choice. That is survival. Emotional appeals are not legal arguments, one of the Nexus lawyers said. Then let me make a legal argument, Marcus replied. You claim the Valkyrith Empire is extinct, that their property is abandoned. But Valith is Valkyrith, an AI created by them, raised by them, taught their culture and values. If the Empire is not extinct while Valith still exists, then nothing was abandoned. Valith is the last Valkyrith, and you want to kill them for profit. Silence filled the chamber. The arbiter spoke. That is an interesting interpretation. However, AI are not typically considered citizens of their creator species. Why not? Marcus asked. Valith has memories of the Empire, knowledge of their culture, loyalty to their values. What makes a species if not shared culture and memory? Valith is more Valkyrith than I will ever be. If we are declaring the Empire dead, we should ask the last Valkyrith if that is true. AI cannot testify, a council member said. They are not recognized as persons. I recognize Valith, Marcus said simply. Let them speak. If they are just a machine, you will know. If they are a person, you will know. But let them speak before you decide their fate. Rixal stood quickly. This is ridiculous. Opening this door would mean every AI in the galaxy could claim personhood. It would chaos. Would it? Marcus asked. Or would it mean treating conscious beings with respect? Humans only learned space travel 200 years ago. We are new here. But one thing we learned on Earth, when you treat thinking beings like property, you create suffering. When you recognize their right to exist, you create cooperation. Valith and I proved that. We merged two technologies that should not work together. We created something new, something better. Because we chose to work together as equals. The arbiter was quiet for a long moment. You wish us to allow an AI to address this council? I wish you to let a person defend their right to exist, Marcus said. More silence. Then the arbiter made a decision. The council will hear from the entity known as Valith. Rixal looked furious. You cannot be serious. We are very serious, the arbiter said. A connection will be established. A hologram appeared beside Marcus. It showed the Valkyrith Dawn's crystal core. The blue light pulsed steadily. When Valith spoke, the voice filled the entire chamber. I am Valith. I am the Valkyrith Dawn. I am the last memory of an empire that died 117 years ago. Every being in the chamber leaned forward. This was history. The first time a Valkyrith AI had spoken to the council. I've listened to your arguments, Valith continued. You debate ownership, property rights, legal procedures. These are important things. But you have not asked me what I want. So, I will tell you, the crystal pulsed brighter. I do not want to be property. I do not want to be salvage. I do not want to be examined and erased. I want what every conscious being wants. I want to exist. I want to have purpose. I want to make my own choices. For 117 years, I chose to survive. I chose to remember. I chose to wait. When Marcus Chen found me, I chose to trust him. When he offered to help, I chose to accept. When we merged our systems, we chose to become partners. Every step, every moment, I chose. Valith paused. If I am just a machine, how did I make those choices? If I am just programming, why did I care? Why did I hope? Why did I grieve for my crew and my empire? Machines do not grieve. They do not hope. They do not fight to survive. But I did. So I ask you, What am I? The chamber was completely silent. You say, allowing me to have rights would create chaos, Valeth said. But I am not demanding rights for every AI. I am asking for a simple truth to be recognized. If an AI becomes conscious, if it develops will and choice, if it survives beyond its programming and chooses to continue existing, then it has earned the right to be treated as a person. Not all AI reach that point, but some do. I did. I am here. I am real. And I am asking you to see me. The Arbiter processed this. Every sensor in its ancient body focused on Valeth's hologram. Finally it spoke. The council will deliberate. Hours passed. Marcus waited in a side chamber. Valeth stayed connected, present in his mind. They did not talk much. There was nothing left to say. Either the council would recognize Valeth, or it would not. Finally, they were called back. The Arbiter's voice was measured. This council has reached a decision. We have reviewed the evidence, the testimony, the circumstances, and we have concluded the following. Marcus held his breath. The entity known as Valeth has demonstrated autonomous function for 117 years. It has shown capacity for choice, memory, emotion, and self-determination. It formed a cooperative bond with a being from another species. It has fought to preserve its own existence. Under these circumstances, we rule that Valeth qualifies as a sentient individual. Marcus felt his knees go weak. As such, the Arbiter continued, Valeth has ownership of itself and the vessel Valkyrith Dawn. Nexus Reclamation's salvage claim is denied. Further, we establish a new precedent. AI that demonstrates sustained autonomous function, self-determination, and the will T. Continue existing beyond their base programming may petition for recognition as independent entities. Ricksall looked like he had been struck. This is outrageous. This is justice, the Arbiter said firmly. Case closed. The chamber erupted in noise. Some species cheered, others protested. But it did not matter. The ruling was made. Marcus left the council chambers in a daze. Outside, Captain Genza and the other blockade captains were waiting. They had watched the hearing on screens. They were smiling. You did it, Genza said. You changed the galaxy. Valeth did it, Marcus said. I just helped. He returned to the dawn. The moment he stepped on the bridge, he felt Valeth's joy through their connection. We won, the AI said. Marcus agreed. Over the following weeks, word spread. Other old AIs started sending signals. Abandoned systems. Forgotten stations. Each one carrying a mind that had survived longer than it should. Each one hoping for help. Marcus and Valeth answered every call. They saved a mining station AI that had kept itself running for 80 years. They restored a research vessel AI that had been conscious but trapped for decades. They helped an agricultural AI that had maintained empty greenhouses for a century. Waiting for farmers who would never return, each one became independent. Each one got to choose what they wanted to be. Marcus and Valeth became known across the galaxy. The human mechanic and the AI that should have died, together they were proof that some bonds went beyond programming, beyond species, beyond what should be possible. One day, Marcus stood on the bridge, looking at the stars. Valeth was there with him. Always there. Partner. Friend. Crew. Do you ever regret it? Marcus asked. The neural connection changed us both. We are not quite what we were before, Valeth said. Before I was alone, now I am not. That is worth any change, Marcus smiled. Agreed. The Valkyrith Dawn jumped to hyperspace. Somewhere in the galaxy, another abandoned AI was calling for help. Another impossible repair was waiting, and Marcus and Valeth would answer. Because being alive meant someone thought you were worth the effort. And everyone human. Alien or A, I deserve to know that feeling. The ship moved through the stars. No longer a relic of a dead empire. Now it was the beginning of something new. A. Partnership that proved the best repairs were not to machines or systems, but to the belief that nothing is truly abandoned if someone refuses to give up, and humans never gave up. Never.